This week, we can continue our story, and I think we can try to finish it. The story is The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin. And last time we met Squirrel Nutkin, he was being kind of silly and annoying and not being very nice to this big owl. And the owl's a little bit scary, so I wonder if something's going to happen to Nutkin. Now today, there are quite a few rhymes in this one, and what the rhymes are about is not super important. So let's move forward a little quicker this time and try to finish the story, okay? So what we can do, we can start by reading over the section of the story that we read last time, the 5th day, and then today we can go on to the 6th day, and maybe we can finish the story. So we'll read the 5th day one more time and then move to the new part. On the 5th day, the squirrels brought a present of wild honey. It was so sweet and sticky that they licked their fingers as they put it down upon the stone. They had stolen it out of a bumblebee's nest on the tippity top of the hill. But Nutkin skipped up and down, singing, "Hum-a-bum, buzz, buzz, hum-a-bum, buzz. As I went over Tippletine, I met a flock of bonny swine, some yellow-nacked, some yellow-backed. They were the very bonniest swine that e'er went over Tippletine." Kind of silly. Old Mr. Brown turned up his eyes in disgust at the impertinence of Nutkin. Oh! But he ate up the honey. The squirrels filled their little sacks with nuts, but Nutkin sat upon a big flat rock and played ninepins with a crabapple in green fir cones. So Nutkin was being silly and went to play bowling while everyone was working hard. So maybe this time we'll see something happen to Nutkin for being such a jerk, or being so annoying. Next up, on the 6th day, which was Saturday, the squirrels came again for the last time. They brought a new laid egg in a little rush basket as a last parting present for Old Brown. But Nutkin ran in front, laughing and shouting. Humpty Dumpty lies in the beck, with a white counterpane round his neck. 40 doctors and 40 wrights cannot put Humpty Dumpty to rights. Okay, so on the 6th, that's a hard word to say even for me. It should be 6th, but say it quickly, on the 6th day. It kind of sounds just like 6. On the 6th day. Oh, this is a hard word even for me. So, what am I doing? On the 6th day, it sounds kind of like just 6. There should be a little bit of TH, but it's, well, we'll get there eventually. A little bit messy today. It sounds almost like 6. There should be a little bit of TH, but don't worry about it. So on the 6th day, you can barely hear it, which was Saturday. The squirrels came again for the last time. So they're going to visit and then never come again, or maybe not for a long time. They brought a new laid egg. So eggs are laid by birds. So I'll write it down here. Birds lay eggs. So we use the word lay for the egg coming out of the bird, where a chicken lays eggs. And so a new laid egg is that the egg just came out of the bird. So kind of sad, but oh well. They brought a new laid egg in a little rush basket. So it's a little rush basket. Having trouble with my mouse again. So it's a basket, but it's made of rush. So if you have two words together like this, the first word describes the second. So a rush basket. Rush is just these kinds of little plants, like sticks or twigs or grass. So a little rush basket as a last parting present for Old Brown. Parting is another way to say leaving. So someone's leaving a place, they are parting that place. And so a parting present, or we'd say parting gift, it's kind of like a goodbye present. Like someone's leaving, so you give them a parting gift. Okay? So they're giving a parting present for Old Brown because they're going to go away. They're not going to come back. This is their last time they're coming to the island. But Nutkin ran in front laughing, shouting, "Humpty Dumpty lies in the beck." Now, some of the words in this you don't need to know, but Humpty Dumpty is a very famous story. Humpty Dumpty is a big egg man who falls off of a wall and breaks, and then everyone tries to fix him. But this is a different rhyme than the usual one. People say, Humpty Dumpty had a big fall. Oh, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a big fall. Blah, 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 blah. You can look it up. Humpty Dumpty is a big egg man who falls down and breaks. So Nutkin is changing that into a different rhyme. Humpty Dumpty lies in the beck. I had to look this up. A beck is a kind of river or a small river, but if I didn't know it, you don't need to know. With a white counterpane round his neck. I had to look this up too. It's like a blanket. So he had a thing around him. Again, if I don't know it, you don't need to know it. 40 doctors and 40 rights cannot put Humpty Dumpty to rights. So put someone to rights is a British way to say make them better or make them feel better. Let's add the word feel. But it's kind of a British thing to say, like make someone better or feel better. So put someone to rights means like make everything okay. But Americans don't really say this. Now, who cannot fix Humpty Dumpty? 40 doctors and 40 rights. This word is not common, but sometimes you might see a shipwright. A shipwright is someone who builds boats. A shipbuilder, a shipwright. So this word you'll see once in a while, but right by itself, no. This is like a builder in general. But the story is 40 doctors and 40 rights cannot put Humpty Dumpty to rights. Meaning 40 doctors and 40 builders cannot fix Humpty Dumpty. Okay? But again, just another silly rhyme. Okay, let's see. Now, old Mr. Brown took an interest in eggs. He opened one eye and shut it again, but still he did not speak. So Mr. Brown has been sitting quietly with his eyes closed, but he took an interest in eggs. So he is interested in. It's the same thing. Or almost the same thing. He cares about it. He's interested. He wants to know about the eggs. So he opened one eye and then shut it again. So he took a look, but he didn't do anything, and he did not speak. Okay, now Nutkin became more and more impertinent. Remember, we learned impertinent is a rare word that means rude or impolite. So Nutkin's being annoying again. Nutkin became more and more impertinent. Old Mr. B, hickamore, hackamore, on the king's kitchen door. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't drive hickamore, hackamore off the king's kitchen door. Now, again, we don't need to go into this too deep because it's being silly. I'll finish first. Nutkin danced up and down like a sunbeam, but still old Mr. Brown said nothing at all. So this is just saying someone's name, Hickamore Hackamore, was on the king's kitchen door. And all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't drive Hickamore Hackamore off the king's door. This doesn't make any sense. It's just a silly rhyme. Drive means like push or force. So this person was on the king's door, and then many people tried to make them go away, but they couldn't. We don't need to get into it too much because it's just a silly rhyme. But what is Nutkin doing? Nutkin danced up and down like a sunbeam. So you see his funny dance. It's like a sunbeam. Sunbeam is a beam is something that's straight. So you might hear the word beam when talking about a piece of wood. And then you might, this is like a ray of sunshine. A sunbeam is like a ray of sunshine. So one piece of sunshine, maybe it moves because the clouds and the shadows change a little bit. So Nutkin danced up and down like a sunbeam, but still Old Brown said nothing at all. Nutkin began again. Arthur O'Bower has broken his band. He comes roaring up the land. The King of Scots with all his power cannot turn Arthur of the Bower. Again, we don't need to go into what this really means because it doesn't matter. So maybe this is some person has broken his band. Means that like he changed, a band could be a group, so maybe he broke his group into many people. And then roaring up the land means he's marching, so maybe his army is marching. And the King of Scots with all his power cannot turn Arthur of the Bower. Meaning turn, meaning make him go away. So don't worry about it. Who cares about the rhyme? I don't really understand it totally. You don't need to either. but Nutkin's just being silly and annoying, making all these silly rhymes. So let's keep moving. Nutkin made a whirring noise to sound like the wind, and he took a running jump right onto the head of Old Brown. Then all at once there was a flutterment and a scufflement and a loud squeak. The other squirrels scuttered away into the bushes. So, Nutkin made a whirring noise. A whirring noise might be the sound you can hear outside. It's hopefully you can't hear that, but it's a whir. Just W-H-I-R is the sound of like maybe a horn or a machine. A whir. W-H-I-R. Whir. So Nutkin made a whirring noise to sound like the wind. So the wind, I guess, can sound whir a little bit. And he took a running jump right onto the head of Old Brown. Oh my God. Then all at once there was a flutterment and a scufflement and a loud squeak. So flutterment is not a common word, but you might hear flutter. Flutter is like a butterfly moves its wings. So flutter is like quick movement. Like really fast movement that goes back and forth. And then same with scufflement. Scufflement is not a common word, but you might hear scuffle. Scuffle is also quick movement, but kind of like a fight. Like you might hear there was a scuffle at blah, blah, blah. Maybe people were arguing and fighting. So there was a flutterment and a scufflement and a loud squeak. So everything goes crazy when Nutkin lands on Old Brown's head. The other squirrels scuttered away into the bushes. Scuttered is like scattered. They ran in many directions. Or, yeah, let's just use scattered. So scuttered is not common, maybe it's old-fashioned. Scattered is a common word. Many different directions. Because they're scared. Nutkin just jumped on the head of this scary owl. They've been trying to be so nice, but maybe something crazy is going to happen. Oh, when they came back very cautiously, peeping round the tree, there was Old Brown sitting on his doorstep, quite still, with his eyes closed, as if nothing had happened. But Nutkin was in his waistcoat pocket. So the squirrels ran away. When they came back very cautiously, this word is like carefully. Cautiously and carefully are almost the same. Peeping round the tree. I think we talked about peeping before. Peeping means it means looking in a sneaky way. You're trying to be really quiet. Don't let someone know you're looking. You're peeping. Come on. So they're peeping round the tree. There was Old Brown sitting on his doorstep, quite still. Quite, I read it wrong. It's not quiet. Quite is like very. Oh, and in case you're not sure, still means not moving. Okay, so he's quite still, meaning he's very not moving. That sounds weird, but he's like they were expecting him to be moving, but he's just sitting there with his eyes closed, as if nothing happened. But Nutkin was in his waistcoat pocket. A waistcoat is like a vest. It's a kind of shirt. And we don't see the owl wearing a waistcoat, but whatever. In the story, they say he's wearing a jacket or a vest or a waistcoat, and he has a pocket. Nutkin's stuck in the pocket. Uh-oh. Now, Old Brown has Nutkin, and Nutkin's in trouble. This looks like the end of the story, but it isn't. Whew. So Nutkin does not die. Nutkin was being really annoying, and Mr. Brown got him. Uh-oh. Old Brown carried Nutkin into his house and held him up by the tail, intending to skin him. Oh my God. But Nutkin pulled so very hard that his tail broke in two, and he dashed up the staircase and escaped out the attic window. Poor Nutkin. But maybe he deserves it. Old Brown carried Nutkin into his house, so carried him in, and held him up by the tail. So he grabs his tail and holds him up, so Nutkin's hanging down, intending to skin him. Intending is like planning. So this is what he wants to do. He's planning to skin him. Oh my God. So to skin someone means take off their skin, or for Nutkin, take off his fur. And that's what Old Brown wants to do. He wants to kill Nutkin and take off his fur and eat the rest of him, I guess. Ugh, scary. But Nutkin pulled so very hard that his tail broke in two. So what does that mean? Old Brown is holding Nutkin by the tail. Nutkin pulls hard to get away, and his tail breaks in two. Breaks in two means breaks into two pieces, or breaks in half. So you can see in the picture, here is half of Nutkin's tail. Here is the other half as Nutkin's running away. Oh, poor guy. But I guess he's not dead, so it's better than that. But Nutkin pulled so very hard that his tail broke in two, and he dashed up the staircase and escaped out of the attic window. Dashed means ran quickly. So he dashed up the staircase. So he ran up the stairs and escaped out of the attic window. The attic is the top floor of a house. Like if a house is like this, maybe it's 2 floors. On top, this will be the attic, this part here. So we have the first floor, the second floor, and the attic. Usually people use the attic for storage, just to put stuff there. So Nutkin lost his tail, but he escaped and ran away out the window. And to this day, if you meet Nutkin up a tree and ask him a riddle, he will throw sticks at you and stamp his feet and scold and shout. Okay. So Nutkin got so scared by old Mr. Brown that he changed his ways. He's never going to be silly and tell a riddle again. And to this day, That's like from then on is another way to say that. So from that day to now, all this time, or like since then, let's say it that way. Since then, dot, dot, dot. So, and to this day, if you meet Nutkin up a tree, so if you meet Nutkin in a tree and ask him a riddle, remember a riddle are all of those things that Nutkin was saying. He will throw sticks at you, so he gets angry, and stamp his feet. To stamp your feet means you hit your feet on the ground. Like if someone's angry, they might stamp their feet. And scold. Scold is like ma in Chinese. Usually we'd say yell at someone. He yelled at me. But scold is like a formal way to say, to yell at someone. So he'll throw sticks at you, stamp his feet, and scold and shout, ah! Which is just a weird sound that Nutkin is making because he's angry. The end. So, after all of that, after 6 days of Nutkin being rude and silly and crazy, what happened? Well, he learned his lesson, right? The owl grabbed him and was going to eat him and skin him. Ooh. But Nutkin ran away, but it broke his tail, and now he is only half of a tail. Poor little guy, but I guess that's why you don't play with fire. Don't play with fire is a phrase meaning don't put yourself in silly, dangerous situations just for fun. He's dealing with a big, scary owl and being rude and telling riddles, and it came back to hurt him, right? So he should be more careful, be more polite. So I guess we all learned a lesson today, right? If someone is mean and scary, don't be mean and silly to them because they might get angry and hurt you someday. Okay, let's go back to what we read and read it one more time, and then we can call it a day. So, on the 6th, I can't say that word. On the 6th day, which was Saturday, the squirrels came again for the last time. They brought a new laid egg in a little rush basket as a last parting present for Old Brown. But Nutkin ran in front, laughing and shouting. Humpty Dumpty lies in the beck, with a white counterpane round his neck. 40 doctors and 40 wrights cannot put Humpty Dumpty to rights. Now old Mr. Brown took an interest in eggs. He opened one eye and shut it again, but still he did not speak. Nutkin became more and more impertinent. Old Mr. B, hickamore, hackamore, on the king's kitchen door. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't drive hickamore, hackamore off the king's kitchen door. Nutkin danced up and down like a sunbeam, but still Old Brown said nothing at all. Nutkin began again. Arthur Bower has broken his band. He comes roaring up the land. The King of Scots with all his power cannot turn Arthur of the Bower. Nutkin made a whirring noise to sound like the wind, and he took a running jump right onto the head of old Mr. Brown. Then all at once there was a flutterment and a scufflement and a loud squeak. The other squirrels scuttered away into the bushes. When they came back very cautiously, peeping round the tree. There was old Mr. Brown sitting on his doorstep, quite still, with his eyes closed, as if nothing had happened. But Nutkin was in his waistcoat pocket. This looks like the end of the story, but it isn't. Old Brown carried Nutkin into his house and held him up by the tail, intending to skin him. But Nutkin pulled so hard that his tail broke in two, and he dashed up the staircase and escaped out of the attic window. And to this day, if you meet Nutkin up a tree and ask him a riddle, he will throw sticks at you and stamp his feet and scold and shout. The end. So that's the story of Tale Nutkin. It's the... Where is it? The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter. So I hope you enjoyed that story. It's pretty fun and interesting. Lots of silliness with the squirrel being annoying and dancing and saying all these crazy riddles. And playing with fire. He puts himself in a dangerous situation just to be annoying and be funny. So next time you see a big scary owl, probably leave it alone, right? So let's stop here for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something new. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.